Want to know what it's like to be the man of the moment in Australian fashion? Well, here on Designer Profiles, we take you up close and personal to meet the man behind the couture of Australian fashion, Alex Perry. Now, Alex, you've kind of got a bit of a name for yourself, haven't you?
Look, well, I've been working at it for quite some time, so I think it's just happened, over the years. You do good work and you be consistent about it, and eventually you get a reputation, I guess.
How does King of Fashion fit with you?
Look, it's a bit cheesy, King of Fashion. I saw it written not long ago, and it's really flattering. But it's basically people saying that we like what you do and you're doing it well and you've been doing it for a while.
Now, you started off at East Sydney Fashion.
Yep, East Sydney Tech it was back then.
Yep.
It was a 3-year full-time course. It was pretty intense, and I actually didn't really have a concept of what it was. I thought I was going to sit in some fabulous studio and just sketch
Design
pictures and then give it to somebody and say, "Here, can you make this?"
Do this for me.
Couldn't sew, couldn't pattern make,
right.
And so it came as a bit of a shock on day 3 when, we had to do that. But that was part of that whole learning experience.
Part of the process.
Yeah.
Now, you've come off a hugely successful spring-summer, which was entitled Safari Princess.
Yep.
What were your inspirations here?
I wanted it to be. This was probably the collection that was closest to what I personally love. I didn't consider, that much saleability or what fashion editors would think or what department store buyers would think. I just did something that I thought was beautiful, and so it was special to me in that sense. And every season, there's a Perry princess, and she goes somewhere, or it's. I have a country in mind or a time, an era or something like that, and then I try and reference that, but bring it into today, and also keep my signature on it as well. I love the whiteness of it. It was really crisp and clean.
Beautiful.
And, the tailoring was razor sharp. The dresses were really pretty, dreamy kind of things that girls would love.
Now you have this knack for making girls look super thin and glamorous. Tell us your secret. How do you do it? Do you suck them in there, or?
I'd have to kill you if I told you. You know what it is? I remember, when I used to watch like old epic movies and stuff, and I used to look at the costuming in them, and they were immaculate. They fitted so incredibly perfectly, and the women were hyper feminine.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yeah, all that. All those things that we remember that are iconic images. So before anything else, I tried to hone my skills in on making sure that things were immaculate, that they fit really beautifully, that they, the fabrics were great, they were cut well. And then if you've got that down pat, then you inject your own personal, style, I suppose, or what you think is beautiful. It sort of all comes together. So yeah, it was always, and it always is about, the fit of something for me.
Now you always get the big names at your shows. Who is the most famous person that you've dressed?
Look, I've dressed Elle Macpherson, who, as an Australian icon, that's pretty famous. Just recently, we've dressed Jennifer Lopez and Nelly Furtado, Rihanna, Eva Longoria. I've dressed Linda Evangelista and girls like that. So the most recent one, Jennifer Lopez, was for me.
Fantastic.
Because I personally think that she's so talented. She's really beautiful.
And she has an amazing body.
Amazing body to do. I mean, I love girls with those sorts of bodies.
Exactly. Shapes.
Yeah, shape, and they've got that that real kind of sexiness about them.
Now, if you could design a Perry gown for any woman in the world, past or present, who would it be?
Look, past it'd have to be, or not past, but in her heyday, I would love to have dressed Sophia Loren. I think that she's like the bomb, and today, I would love to dress her today. She's an amazing woman. All those iconic, women that, in the 50s, like Grace Kelly and, the ones that we remember. Today, there's lots. I like the ones I love Catherine Zeta-Jones. I love Nicole Kidman. I love a lot of those. I just love the really famous ones.
Of course, we like a bit of famous.
No, but because, we do love a bit of famous, but they've got such incredible presence.
Of course,
and
style.
So it's women like that I love dressing, and have got a bit of presence.
And and they do you justice as well.
Yeah.
Now talk to me about Fashion Week. I mean, this year IMG actually introduced a law that girls have to be over 16 to be on the catwalk. How do you feel about that?
I'm absolutely, really fine with that. With my sort of clothing, I've always used girls a little bit older because they need to have just a little bit of life experience to be able to wear my kind of dresses and to make them look really, really gorgeous. Having said that, there's about 3 or 4 girls that we use that are 16, but they're more like 20 in their minds. Like they're really confident, independent girls. And so I don't mind using them, but they've got to register older. And for me, they need to have a little bit of life experience to
and
be
they
able
need to understand sexiness and how to be sexy.
Yeah, and you can't do that when you're
can't.
under 16. And there's something a bit Jean-Benet Ramsey about all of that. When girls are too, if you've got like a 15 or a 14-year-old girl backstage, it's not right. I don't think it's not right.
Now, Top Model, you've been a judge on Top Model for the past 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years.
4 years. What's the best thing about working on such a great show?
Look, the best thing is the people that I work with, especially this season, like Charlotte Dawson. I've known Charlotte for ages. I love her.
You guys have a great rapport
there. We're a bit naughty, and
that's okay.
And so I love the people that I work. The production, company's fantastic. I love the fact that Foxtel let you do what you want. You don't have to watch your P's and Q's.
There's
and
no
you can say to
restrictions.
Somebody, you're fat because they are fat. And I don't have to be politically correct and say, oh,
I don't think
you're a little bit heavy. No, I can't do that. And not in this industry. I think it's negligent. If like when I used to rep models, if somebody came in and said,
be honest.
Can I model? I'll tell you, yes, you can for these reasons, or no, you can't for what reasons, or this is what you've got to do about it. So
this is what you need to improve on.
Politically correct to me, I think that we've become too politically correct about too many things. And instead of just saying what the real deal is, that's it. If you can't be a model, that's fine.
No, exactly.
There's 5,000 other careers that you can consider. And if we entertain the fact that to you that yes, maybe you can,
there is the possibility,
but really you can't. That's like teasing somebody, and I'm kind of not into that.
Now, I want to know something about Alex Perry that a lot of people don't know. Tell me a secret, or tell me something.
You know what? I wish I was a bit more interesting. I don't know. I eat meat pies from service stations.
Right. What do you do on a day off?
On a day off? Well, I don't get them very often usually, and I'm usually like, again, this is really boring, but I lie on the couch and I watch successive DVDs.
Awesome.
Because I never get to do that. It's just people, think like, oh, so what are you going to do? Or you must be doing something fabulous.
Glamorous.
It actually isn't. Because that normality of just not doing anything, lying on the couch, I go from the couch to the kitchen, back to the couch, and keep on watching DVDs, and I sleep.
Sounds like a great day.
Yeah, but that's when you're on all the time. That's really special to me.
Of course.
Because other people might do that all the time and they think it's really boring, but when you don't do it, it's really special.
It's really kind of exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
10 years, still doing what I'm doing. I hope to streamline the business of making clothes. Just get that running tighter, I guess. We've got to, because of the way things are economically, we have to look at doing things overseas. We've got more interaction with China for us. I've just started doing some interior design work. One really great development that I've just finished, and I'm talking to people about doing others on a bigger scale.
Right.
And that will involve, Alex Perry lifestyle. So there'll be, move into interior furnishings and finishings and things like that.
So basically, Alex Perry's going to be everywhere.
Yeah. Look,
taking over the world.
If you don't keep yourself interested and stimulated, you go flat. Yep. And you got to, that old saying, you're only as good as your last show. I really believe that.
It's true.
You've got to push the envelope each time and try and, especially when you've been doing it for a while.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on Designer Profiles.
Nice to talk to you.
And to you. Thanks very much.